This conference will now be
So see
recorded.
here, we are left with very few topics here. From the services and service groups. Okay, we will see this today. And then if the time permits, I will explain you about deploying and task recorder trace parser. Let's see. Okay. Now see here. First of all, now already you know how to work with the service. Okay. If there is any external service and how to consume it in Dynamics 365, that part you know very well. Okay. So now what is the next part? Let's say the customer has some Android application or any sort of application with him, and whatever you want to do is whatever you want to do is you want to you want to send the information from Dynamics AX. You want to send the information from Dynamics AX, and then they need to consume it. How to do that? Okay. So again, frankly speaking, there are a lot of services which are already exist in Dynamics 365, and in 90% of the cases, or more than 90% of the cases, you are going to work with only those services. You are going to work with only those services. Okay. So I will show you how to create a service, how to create a service group and work with it. Along with that, we will also see the remaining part. Okay. Let's see. Just a second, it is loading. Okay. Now let me create one class here. Click on the add button, new item, and let me take a class and let me call this as what shall I call this? AMA address service. Okay. But actually, if you want to insert or update or delete the data, you will be using, I can say 90% of the times, data entities. Okay. And we are not going to use this kind of things. You will be using data entities and then you will send XML or whatever it is. Okay. So let me call this as AMA service test. Okay. We will do something else here because already we know about data entities. So instead of going with something existing, I want to go with something new. Okay. Let's say in this, you want to create a service method. If you want to create a service method, please remember to add sys entry point attribute. Okay. Please add sys entry point attribute to the method you want to add. Okay. I will say public. If you want to return something, you can return the value here. Or if you want to do something here, public void test service. You can call it as test service, and in the bracket I am not passing any parameters. Or if you want to pass a parameter, you can pass a string here. You can say string str val, and then you can do whatever you want. Now inside this is a void method. Now let's say you want to work with this method now. Okay. And if you want to simply, I am currently printing the info. Later on, if you want to write something, we can write it. I will show you anyways how to do that. I will say service method called. Done. So this is a simple service class and this is a simple service method. Okay. Now if you want to expose this, to the outside world, whatever you need to do is you need to add a new item and then create a service. you can see there is a node called services. Okay, here I will call this as AMA service. Click on the add button. This is my service. This is my web service. Now for each service, if you go to the properties, you can see that there is a class. I will call this class as AMA service test. Okay, and then the description you can give anything you want. External name, I will simply add it AMA service. Okay, actually this external name we used to use to call the services. Okay, but here it will be a bit different in Dynamics 365. Now once you are done with creating a, if you are setting up the properties of a service, create a new service operation and then add your service method. Okay, add your service method, and here you have subscriber access level. In this you have read, by default it is set. If you set no access, there will be no access. If you set unset, currently no access has been provided to it. Okay, if you set invoke, you are providing the invoke permissions to invoke the web service. I am setting it to invoke. So once you're done with creating the service, the next step would be add button. Sorry, click on the add button, new item, and select service group. Let me call this as Amazon service group. Click on the add button here. Now this is my service group. If you go to properties, set auto deploy to yes. So what does this auto deploy does? This auto deploy will deploy your service because you'll have two different endpoints. One is JSON and the other one is SOAP API. If you want to deploy your service to both the endpoints, means you want to deploy your service to the SOAP endpoint, you want to deploy your service to the REST endpoint. If you want to deploy your service to both the endpoints, then we will set this deploy to yes. If you don't set this to yes, what will happen? If you don't set it to yes, you are saying you are not going to deploy it. That means service will not work. Okay. Now let me add a new service and let me select AMA service here. Okay. Let me select AMA service here. I am giving the service name as AMA service. Okay. But please remember, this is called service group service name. This is called service group service name. So once you are done, operational domain. Okay. Let me set it to shared. Okay. Once you are done with setting all these properties, simply do a rebuild here. We are done. We are done with creating the service. Okay. Simply do a rebuild. Let's see how the service will work. And in the meantime, this builds. I want to show you one more thing. Okay. So how to consume the service? How to consume the service? See here, to consume the service, this is a C# code, and this is not written by me. This is from Microsoft, and they have provided the sample. Okay, I will show you how to work with this sample. You can work in the similar manner. You can work in the similar manner. Got it? Now, next step. So here in this sample, you can see there is something called authentication utility. In this authentication utility, you have client configuration. So this is very, very important configuration. Okay, here, whether you want to hit using the username and password, or whether you want to work with Active Directory application. Please remember, going forward, you are not going to use username and password for hitting the service. Okay, using service accounts is a old technique. Using service accounts is a old technique. What is the new technique? We need to use Azure Active Directory application. We need to use Azure Active Directory application. Go to Azure Active Directory, and then already I told you to how to create an application, and already we have one application here. app registrations, and we have the application D365 integration. You need to go to this application and then go to certificates and secrets. Create a new secret. You can see here I have created a new secret, service test. Similarly, you need to click on the new client secret and you need to provide the expiration date, whether it is 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. And then you need to click on the add button. Okay. If you set it to test and then click on the add button, it will create a new secret for us. And what we need to do is you need to copy this new secret and then in the Visual Studio solution, you need to place it here. Active Directory Client App Secret. Okay. And this is a sample provided by Microsoft and this is not written by me. Please remember. Okay. To test the services, they have provided this sample. Okay. Now you can see here. This is about the authentication. So once you're done with setting up the authentication, now how to create the URL? See here, here you will have the session URL and default URI. Now if you go to configuration, you can see there will be a URI for you, URI string. This is the default URI. Okay, this is the default URI. And whereas this URI is again the important thing here. Okay, this URI is important here because API services, for example, let me go to user session service. Okay, first of all we will see how to work with this user session service, how it works, because you need to know about the standard as well, and then we will come back and we will modify it to our service. Okay, so first of all we will add the service group name. So user session service is the service group name, and after the service group name, AIF user session service, that is called service group service name. You can see AIF user session service. Okay, and one more thing, let me go to services, AIF user session service. Please remember, whenever you are working with these names, you need to keep them same. Okay, because that is service group service name. And then what is the next step? Service operation. You can have any number of service operations. Each service operation will represent a unique method in your service. Okay, unique method in your service. Here he is using get user session info. Okay, that's it. Now please remember, this application, if you run outside the VM, it is not going to work. Okay, whereas if it is a Azure hosted environment, you can run the same piece of code by changing the URI string to your Azure hosted environment, because this URI is available only in this VM. Whereas Azure hosted, this is a public URI, so it will work anywhere. Please remember, this is very, very important. Okay, because few of the time students used to run it outside and then they used to try. Okay, now currently we are not passing any parameters, we are just getting the data. Now let me run this. If you want to debug, you can also debug in AX as well by attaching W3 WP process. Okay, W3 WP process. Okay, it's very simple. Yeah, if you want to get the sample, web service D365 samples GitHub. Okay, this is the link. I created a different set of tool altogether for this, but this is a sample and you have everything, which is why I went to here. Okay, now we are creating a post request. We are getting the response. It will take a minute of time because it should hit the Dynamics 365 and then it should get it. Okay. Okay. Uh, Okay, now let's see what is the response here. Done. You can see the response. Okay, and if you want to view in the form of a JSON, you can see AY's name, and coming to the currency info, you got these details. Okay, so this is the user information. So this is how we are going to work with services in Dynamics 365. Okay, now we have created the service group. Is that right? This is good. This is working fine. But we have created one service. Okay, and there we are not returning any response. So if you want to return, what we need to do? Here, if you want to return something back again in your test.xpp, you can say string here. Okay, let me take 255, and you can say return successful. I'm simply returning one message. Okay, and now let me go back and let me do a rebuild of this. And here, let's modify this. How to modify? This will be service group, AMA service group, and this is my service, AMA service. This is by method. Test service is the service operation method. Okay, done. Save. And you can check the same values here. AMA service, test service is the service operation, AMA service is the service. Got it? This is how we need to work with this one. No other changes here. It's very simple, as simple as this. Working with services in Dynamics 365 is very simple. Now let's say you want to pass the parameter. What you want to do? You want to pass the parameter. Currently what we are doing, we are passing only one string parameter. Is that right? We are passing only one string parameter. So what you can do is you can say if you want to pass multiple parameters, or this is not needed. I thought of creating a new class, but let me see. Okay, and let me check. I want to check the references. Newtonsoft JSON, can you see it here? No. Let me add a new NuGet package. Manage NuGet packages. And let me go to browse. Here, if you want to work with the JSON, you need to take newtonsoft.json. It's very simple. Take newtonsoft.json and then, oh, it's already there. Good. Let me update this. Done. Next, let me check whether it works here using newtonsoft.json. This is the first thing. Okay. This is the first thing that you need to do. So after using newtonsoft.json, now what we need to do? We need to have the contract. We need to get the contract, and then we need to create the JSON, and then we need to use the JSON to pass as a parameter. How to do that? You have the request. We need to use request to do all these things. Okay. Here, let me take var. I will call this as JSON contract equal to. Okay, but if I need to use new here, I will not get it directly. So I need to create a contract. There is no other option. Okay, let me do that. Public class, and I will call this as add parameter. Okay, and here public string content, and then I will say get set. Hey, this is C sharp. I don't know whether you people know C sharp or not. This is how we write. Okay, now here JSON contract equal to new add parameter, and in the bracket I will simply say I will simply say content. Okay, I have the content equal to this is a test. I am using this is a test, but if you want to pass JSON, you can pass it out. I am using content equal to text. This is a test. If you want to pass a JSON and if you want to deserialize that JSON, we can do that. Okay, that is also possible. You can pass the whole address information and then you can insert over there. Okay, this is a test. Now, once you have added the parameter in your JSON contract, okay, I want to get the JSON out of this one. How to get it? String JSON equal to JSON convert dot. We have a method called serialize object. Okay, serialize object and in the bracket contract. So what this will do? This will serialize means this will create a JSON out of the contract that we are using. Okay, this will create a JSON out of the contract that we are using. Okay, so what is the next step here? Request. Now we have the request. In the request dot, you can pass the content. Okay, oh, I don't have the content here in this request. Why? I have the content length, request method post. Just a second. Request dot content type will be application by JSON. Is it already set? Just a second here. I am checking. There should be a method for which I need to pass the value. Okay. To string proxy pre-authenticate and give me a second. Okay, good. Let me try this. Instead of HTTP web request, let me take request message. There will be no create method for this. A new HTTP request message, and then we need to pass the arguments for this. Okay. Okay. I want to check the warlords. Okay, so what I am checking is here you can see we are using the HTTP web request class, and in the HTTP web request class, I am getting the request, but in this request, I can't see a property called content. I think this should be there in somewhere else. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let me finish it off. Okay, let me comment this for a while, and then let me do one thing here. Let me take HTTP client. Where is the URI? This is session URI, auth header, get auth authentication header, create get user session path 01. Okay, this is the one. So this would be my base address. And we will have the default request headers. And what are these default request headers? So whenever you are working with the Dynamics 365 for authentication, we need to use OAuth header. Okay, we need to use OAuth or O.data authentication. Okay, so in this header, you need to add this, and then we need to get the authentication token. Okay, so in the second step, I have added the client authentication. Okay, and let me comment this out for a while. And once we are done with adding the client authentication, we need to create the request message, HTTP request message, and then you can say HTTP request or whatever you want equal to HTTP request message, and in the brackets we have an enum called HTTP method, and this should be post. Okay, I am saying we are using the post request, and then we need to form the request URI. Okay, the request URI would be this one. Don't think about the name here. I have used the same name. Get user session path. Okay, I have used the same name, but don't think about that name. Okay, and here for this HTTP request dot content. Okay, actually that method is there in HTTP request, which is why I did not get over there. Okay, equal to. So what is the content? Here we have the JSON. Is that right? Here we have the JSON. So if you want to use JSON directly, you can use it, or you can use new string content, and in the bracket you can say JSON convert dot serialize object. Okay, and then you will get the JSON file here. And if you want to use encoding, you can say encoding dot UTF-8, and then what is the media type? Okay, already I have mentioned here now. It's application slash JSON. This is called media type. Done. Okay, so this is how we will get with the content. Now once you are done with the content, the last step. What is the last step? Result equal to, we have the client dot send. We have client dot send async, and in this we need to send the message. Okay, HTTP request. We need to send the HTTP request, and from here you can get the result. So this is the second way. If you want to pass the parameters, this is the way you need to use. Here what we are doing, we have created a contract class, and again remember, here I have created a contract class. In Dynamics 365, what you need to do, you need to use the same contract class, otherwise this is not going to work. Please remember. And if you feel there might be any errors here, okay, you can use try and catch. Okay, because this is at the runtime. So let me add try and catch. Here you can use exception ex. Okay, done. Now let me add a breakpoint here and then let me run this. Okay, so for whatever the content that we have added, this is how it will generate a JSON. Content, this is a text. Client got created, base address, default headers got set. Now we are creating a HTTP request. Okay, and then we are setting up the content here. Now we are trying to call the client.send. Okay, now if you press F10, if everything goes fine, it will show the result. Otherwise, it will go to error. Only one thing here, the problem we will get with authentication, or we are passing the JSON directly. So let's see. It will take a minute of time, anyways, to hit the service. We will see if there is any error. Okay, because the service group, the URI, it should be formed correctly. If there is any issue over there, then obviously it will return the error. And even you can also test that URI in a second way. Oh, good. No error. Means our service is working. No, it says internal server error. Okay. It says internal server error. In the result, you can see status code 500. It says service not found. Okay. Let's see why it is not found. So this is again most common issue for the services that we have created. So how to identify that? Okay. First of all, let me take this URI and then let me go to Chrome or any other browser and let me run it. Okay, good. The page isn't working. Now this clearly indicates that whatever the URI that we have formed here is incorrect. Got it? Whatever the URI that we have formed here is incorrect. And again, so how to identify this? Okay, see here, remember one thing, this URI API, okay, now let me add /en/API. Okay, now I got the 500 server error here. Okay, now there are two things. One is SOAP API and the second one is REST API. Second one is REST API. So let me try with the SOAP the same things. Okay, so how to create a SOAP API? Let's see. Let me open the notepad, paste it over here, and here I need to use /SOAP, and there will be no API here. We will directly have the services and then service group name. Here we will have $WSDL. Okay, so this is one thing that I will always get confused, the URI. Okay, it's not in this batch here. In each and every batch I will confuse of this URI. Okay, coming to the SOAP, you can see the response. So what does it mean? The service is deployed, but whatever the API that we have given, that is incorrect. Okay, so whatever the URI that I have given is incorrect. This is what it indicates. Okay, now let me convert this to REST API. SOAP API is working fine. Now here, in case of REST API, we will have /en/API/services, and then this will be the service group name, AMA service group slash, after service group name, it should be the service group service name. Okay, I think I have given it as AMA service, AMA service slash, and at the end we need to give the method name. Just a second. Let me check the service operation. Hmm, test service permissions are fine. Okay, seems like everything is good. Everything looks good, but why did it fail? Okay, copy, 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 paste it, enter. Okay, but actually I should not get this error. Seems like everything is fine. I think I have given the right URI. It's giving 500 error. Okay, let me do one more thing. I will simply modify this for the system service. Okay, I will take slash services, and then we have user session service slash AIF user session service. This is the one slash, what is the operation name? Get user session info. This is the one we have used. Get user session info. Okay, because it should return JSON. Oh no, there is some problem with the services itself here. Seems like, because it should not throw this error 500. Okay, this is how it should return. Okay, now coming to this one, if I remove this en, okay, seriously strange. Okay, I don't know why it has worked now. Let me copy this back again, and let me go back to this one. And where is it? User session info. Paste it over here and remove this up to this one. Okay, and now let me run it back again and check. No, still it is throwing internal server error. Okay, then seems like I need to check the URI client configuration. HTTPS resource. Okay, one second. So actually what should happen is, you can see here, this is the JSON. Okay, what it is accepting? It is accepting a value, and which is a string, a single parameter. Okay, so when I pass the JSON file to this one, when I pass that string file to this one, it should take that parameter and should return the string whatever that I have given. Okay, because I am not passing anything. I want to show you how to pass the parameters here. Okay, which is why I have used the request.content, because in few of the cases, if you don't want to pass the parameters na, previously whatever we have seen, that will work. Whereas if you want to pass the parameters na, for a REST API, this is the way we need to pass the parameters. Okay, which is why I'm checking why it is missing. Okay, let me check user session path, and this is the string. Let me take this, copy and paste it over here. No, I'm getting here. It's accepting the value. Okay, good. Post request URI version 1.1 with the parameters. Okay. It's just the content as well. Everything is good. Okay. Now let's check what is going wrong. Okay. If it works, it is fine. Otherwise, I will get back to you on this. Okay. Because the same thing, it should work with request message, but unfortunately, it is throwing the error. Let me check just a second. I'm just checking the log here. I want to see where exactly it is going wrong. So I want to check the log so that we will see the service logs. 27/7/2020. This is the one we need to check. Okay. And here you can sort on the basis of date modified. And here you can see 7:46 p.m. 8:10 a.m. This is the one that we need. No, not this one. Oh, sorry. 26:41. Okay. SK D365 EA of user session service. This is good. And here it says login.microsoftonline.com. It says 500/1001. It is not able to log on. But why? Okay. Okay. Let me do one more run and then we will see the latest log. Okay. Now this has run back again. Now if you go to the log, it should get updated. The 7:46 p.m. one. And let me check. 3:11:10. Okay. This is the one. 200 means okay. Okay, it is trying to hit the service, but unfortunately, after hitting the service, seems like it is not getting anything. Okay, so let me check this. I think there should be something going wrong with the JSON or the service. Okay, let me check. Because you can see here, if it gives you the 200, it indicates that authentication is successful. If it gives you the 401, can you say this? 401 means unauthorized. Okay, 401 means unauthorized. At 28th July 2020, 3:04 a.m. I got 401 unauthorized when it is trying to hit. Okay, for the first time when we have tried this one, then I got this 401, but later on it was successful. It shows 200 and then 500. Okay, but let me check this. Okay, because I want to show you how to pass the parameters. Without the parameters, the service will be successful as you have shown in get user operation. Okay, this get user session service, there are no input parameters. But when you are passing the input parameters, I am getting the issue here. Okay, let me check this and then let me get back to you. Okay, because I don't want to waste more time on this. Let me get back to you on this. Okay, because it should get processed, but unfortunately it is not getting processed yet. I will check this and I will let you know. Yep. Yeah, that's it for today. Please let me know if you have any questions. If there are no questions, I will end session for everyone. Thanks all for the session. Let's meet again tomorrow, same time. Thank you all. Bye. I am ending meeting for all.